Hey you guys, my name is Jasmine and today we're going to be making a piece based in pointillism. So before we get started here, I'm going to tell you guys what you need. You need a piece of paper, colored pencils and or crayons, a pencil, a drawing pencil, which is also a graphite pencil, an eraser, and a Sharpie. It can be either chisel tip, fine tip, whatever kind of Sharpie that you think you might want to use. So what is pointillism? Pointillism is an art movement / art style that is based in making texture based in dots. So you're just making a bunch of small dots. A lot of them are our primary colors, which are blue, red, and yellow. And you kind of layer those on top of one another to make our other colors, our secondary colors, which are purple, greens, and orange. So that's what we're going to be doing. You don't have to only use your primary colors. You can go ahead and just use your purple, your green, your oranges to make your piece. I'm going to be making an apple. I'm going to keep it really simple. I might make some other fruits, but I'm going to grab my red, and for the leaf of my apple, which is green, I'm going to grab my yellow and blue. And I'm going to use mostly crayons. I'm going to dip in some colored pencils. So I'm going to also go ahead and grab my colors in that. And if you want to dive on in and start making dots, you can. I'm going to make a light outline with my graphite pencil, my drawing pencil, so that I kind of have a guideline for where I'm making my dots. So, apple shape. I'm just going to draw a slightly round shape. Maybe I want a shadow. And then I'm going to draw my leaf, which will be coming out of the top here. And maybe I have a background. So this is the outline of my apple. And I'm going to just start making dots. You can actually lighten up my lines a little bit so that they're not too hard to get rid of later. But as you're making your dots, you can think about what kind of texture you want it to have, meaning what kind of length do you want your dots to have, how small are they, how big are they? Because whenever you're doing a piece like this, there's a lot that you can play with and experiment with and figure out what you like visually, what you like, just what you enjoy the process of doing. So there are lots of ways you can experiment with this and see what you like. So I'm going to just start making dots. My dots are going to be kind of long. Pointillism is a style that is based a lot in painting. So the brush strokes are they're short, but you can still tell that they're brush strokes. And I probably will go in on top of this with my layering, which, like I mentioned before, you're just layering coloring on top of colorings. So like to make my green later, you'll see what I mean, but I'm going to be using both blue and yellow to make my green. I'm going to be layering those on top of one another. And a lot of pointillism texture, it might look kind of grainy when you finish it. Like if you think of a grainy photograph, that's what it can kind of remind you of. Or like maybe a blurry photograph, or a photograph that's not completely in focus. It might remind you of that. And like I said earlier, you can do this with paint, which is what this practice is mostly based in. You can do this with crayons, colored pencils, like what we're doing right now. You can practice this with a lot of different mediums and experiment with how you can make this kind of art. See what my colored pencil can do. You can change up your dot direction. Keep layering them. Your crayon texture is going to look more fuzzy than your colored pencil texture. As you might be able to see here, colored pencils are gonna provide a more like sharp look to it. And crayons have a more soft and fuzzy kind of texture, typically. You can keep layering this until you see fit, until you think that's where you want to leave it, until maybe you see no more white space. You can play with your colors. I think I'm going to actually add pink to mine, which is not a primary color, but I think it would look pretty cool still. And making sure that I still have my shape, that if I erase my pencil lines, you can still see that it is an apple. I'm gonna get my pink here. I'm gonna keep making my dashed dots here. Just layering them together, making this fun texture. This pink is very purpley, but that's fine. And if you want to kind of layer this all together, kind of make everything blend together, before you start or now, or as you're going or as you finish, you can kind of color underneath or color the background lightly, make everything kind of blend together, but you're still able to see your texture of your dots and all of your layering, what you're doing. You can also do different kinds of dots depending on what color you're using. I'm going to redo my leaf line a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So then I can fill up the top of my apple over here. Still using the same colors that I have been using, both pink and red. You can also play around with how hard you press down on your pencil or crayon. So that will also add a different value, a different kind of color to it. Either a lighter color or bolder color. Now, I'm going to move on to my leaf. I'm going to start with my lighter color. So I'm going to start with my yellow. And then I'm going to layer blue on top of that. So there's my yellow crayon. I've covered up a lot of that space. I'm going to go in with my blue crayon. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to press down as hard because blue is such a different color than yellow. But in certain spots you can kind of start to see, depending on what colors you're mixing, you can kind of see how they cross over one another, how they start to make green or orange or purple, whatever you're layering. And then you can do your background however you want to do it. You can do it the same way. Maybe you don't even have a background, but you can do pointillism in your background as well, or you can do it a solid color. I'm going to do mine a solid color, and then I'm going to go back and outline everything. You don't have to outline everything, but I want to, and I can kind of show you the way that I'm going to outline it, and maybe it fits along with how you might want to outline yours too. So, I'm going to get a brown here. I'm going to leave white space around my edges, so you don't have to, you can color your whole thing, but I'm going to leave white space on my edges. Then I'm going to layer that with purple. That's black. Where's my purple? And then, if like me, you kind of did your outline with a drawing pencil, you can go ahead and erase your lines. Unless you like them, then you can keep them. I don't want my lines in mine though. So I'm going to erase what I can kind of see. And then, with my outline, this is how I like to outline things. I kind of do dots and dashes. And I think that works pretty well with pointillism, with that texture that you have. That's kind of a broken up texture. So this is a broken up way to do an outline. You have the leaf. Background. The shadow. And that is my pointillism piece. So once again, pointillism is an art practice or an art style that is based in making texture, based on making dots with primary colors, which are blue, red, and yellow, and layering them together and making different shades of colors like purple, orange, and green. And that's what I did, and you can do more like this. You can make your own shapes. You can do an abstracted kind of piece based in organic forms. You can make up shapes and color them that way. Or you can do an actual scene like I kind of did with my apple in my background. And I hope you guys do just that and make more. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.